Welcome to the Highlands of Scotland and the 2018 Event Rider Masters Series finale. This year we've seen 194 starters representing 17 nations across 6 international legs, but there can only be one winner. This is Eventing Reinvented. This is the Event Rider Masters.
Welcome back to beautiful Blair Castle, situated in the heart of Scotland on the southern outskirts of the Cairngorm National Park. This incredible estate dates back to the 13th century. The seat of the Dukes of Atholl provides a stunning backdrop for the 2018 Event Rider Masters Series finale and all 3 phases of competition. Yesterday was all about the dressage. Today it is all about the jumping phases as the series finale leg winners will be decided and the 2018 series champions will be crowned. The weather here yesterday was pretty glorious. Today it is fairly miserable, it must be said. Conditions are not going to be ideal for any of our combinations, but my goodness, we have got some of the best in the world here competing, and we've no doubt they will be putting it all out there and doing everything they can. Oliver Townend in 2016, Gemma Tattersall 2017. Who's going to add their name to the Roll of Honour in 2018? Well, we'll find out today. Delighted to be joined in the studio by Matt Heath. Matt, happy to have you with us.
Yeah, excited to be here. Big day. I don't think the weather's going to put anyone off, and it's exciting competition to be involved in, isn't it?
It's not going to dampen enthusiasm or spirits. We're looking forward to the stats. We hope you've got your calculator out.
Yeah, we always need it. By the time you get to the end of the Event Rider Masters, all of the permutations begin to come true. So, yeah, looking forward to working through it as we go through the day.
Well, we can't wait to see just what happens. But of course, this is leg 6 of the 6 in the series. 2018 has been a vintage year. Let's just remind ourselves of how each of the legs have unfolded.
Leg 1, Chatsworth, Derbyshire. New rivalries ignite and old ones burn bright. Laura Collett and Mr. Bass were strong to start, but the power of Piggy French and Quarry Crest Echo prevailed on an all-female podium with Sarah Ennis and Izzy Taylor. Leg 2, Wiesbaden, Germany. Oliver Townend returns on Kilnabrad and Evo. With the gloves off, the world number 1 struck his blows, but not enough, as Ingrid Klimke laid her 2017 demons to rest, returning to the throne as Queen of Wiesbaden. Leg 3, Arveel, Belgium. New kid on the block, Arveel serves up fresh questions for the field. Foot perfect in all 3 tests, Burton and Polystar rise up the rankings. Second place and Collett leads the series at the halfway stage, while stalwarts Levitt and Shannondale Titan are on the podium for the very first time. Leg 4, Barbary, Wiltshire. Back-to-back Barbary wins and redemption day for Upsilon and Tom Carlyle after Arveel disappointment. Townend's campaign dented after disaster in the show jump. Tattersall's on the turn with a top-class performance. Another masterclass in cross-country, and Burton rockets into the series lead. Leg 5, Jardy, France. Reunited at last, Wesco and Tim Price finish on their dressage score and are only denied victory by Alex Bragg and Zagreb's personal best start-to-finish lead. Burton beats Collett to consolidate, whilst Price, Tattersall and Levitt tighten the series screws. Leg 6, Blair Castle, Scotland, the finale. Who will write history in 2018?
Well, after the 5 of the 6 legs, this is how the series standings look. Christopher Burton out in front for Australia, 10 points clear of second place Laura Collett. Tim Price completing the top 3, hot on Laura's heels. Gemma Tattersall in 4th place, can't improve on that. She's not competing here this weekend. But Bill Levitt, Izzy Taylor, Oliver Townend all could put in a serious climb towards that series podium. So we've no doubt it is going to move and shuffle. The question will be, what is going to be the order at close of play today? Well, we hope you're going to stay with us because it is going to be an epic finish to the 2018 series. We're just going to take a moment to look at that 2018 series. Chris Burton, I mean, we've talked a lot. He's the fastest rider in the world. He is such a cool customer, isn't he, Matt?
Yeah, I mean, he handles pressure. It makes us, all in awe of the way he handles pressure. And I think that this will be no exception. He manages to produce it when it really, really matters, and looks so effortless in the way he's doing it. I mean, that's what's so frustrating when I watch him, is how easy he makes it look.
He's 10 points clear of Laura. Can he be beaten?
Can he? Absolutely. Will he? I don't think so. I think he jumps clear, not necessarily now, but in the afternoon, and he's fast. So I think it's his to lose.
Well, it's his to lose. Well, yesterday he got his challenge underway in the dressage phase. Let's take a look at just how the action unfolded.
Day 1 at the Land Rover Blair Castle International Horse Trials, and the world's best horses and riders have arrived in the Scottish Highlands for the decisive finale leg of the Event Rider Masters 2018.
I've walked the course here at Blair, and it's a typical Blair track. It's gallopy, it's hilly. Berto's the fastest man in the world, so it's a massive ask, but it's not impossible.
A winner can come from anywhere. It's just got to go out, and we've got to deliver, and any one of these people can do that.
The dressage phase got underway in full view of the magnificent Blair Castle. Making their second Event Rider Masters appearance of 2018, the in-form Emily King and Dar Gunn earned a 27.1 for their test and 3rd place after the dressage.
This has been a really classy test from this young lady.
Series leader Chris Burton holds fast in the title race driving seat with a 26.9 on Graf Liberty. The pair are in 2nd place going into the jumping phases. Their closest rivals, Tim Price and Laura Collett, sit in 5th and 8th respectively. But it's FEI world number 1, Oliver Townend and Kilnabraden Evo leading the pack after day 1.
Oliver Townend, Kilnabraden Evo, they go ahead of Chris Burton on their trending score at the moment.
A 26.4 for their performance, and the 2016 Masters Series winning combination hold the overnight lead at leg 6 of the Event Rider Masters. Join us for the final day of the 2018 series, where the Event Rider Masters champion will be crowned, live on Facebook and eventridermasters.tv.
Well, this is how the leaderboard looks going into the 2nd phase of competition. Kilnabraden Evo, Oliver Townend won here 2 years ago. Can they take the title again in 2018? They lead after the 1st phase. Chris Burton, Graf Liberty actually on the podium in 2nd place here last year, so could certainly put in another podium finish, and Chris the highest placed of the 3 series podium finishers at the moment. Laura Collett in 5th place, and within a fence of Oliver Townend and Chris Burton, very importantly, as is Tim Price and Wesco, currently sitting down in 8th. Victoria Panitson, Borough Pennies in 5th place in Arveal a little bit earlier on this year. They'll be looking for another good finish here. Emily Philp, Camembert, put up by Echo Ratings as ones to watch in the show jumping, sitting just outside the top 10. And Wills Oakton, Cooley Romero, another combination to really watch in very good form this year. Harry Much in HD Bronze, 36.4 their dressage, making their Event Rider Masters debut as well. And Harry, one to watch in the jumping a little bit later on this afternoon, particularly the cross country. But the leaderboard is tightly packed, as always, in an Event Rider Masters leg. Chris Burton currently sits in 2nd, hot on Oliver's heels. So we'll talk about our leader first. Oliver Townend, Kilnabraden Evo, won here 2 years ago. Form hasn't been quite as impressive recently, Matt. Can he turn his fortunes around here?
When you've got Ollie involved, you never know what he's capable of doing. I mean, the form probably has dropped off with that horse a little bit, but he certainly won't be here just to make up numbers, that's for sure. He's put himself in a very good situation, and He's such a capable rider in the show jumping and the cross country that
don't discount him.
Yeah, you can't rule him out at any situation.
And Chris Burton in second at the moment, ahead of both Laura Collett and Tim Price. He's got to be delighted with how the first phase panned out.
Yeah, I think he'd be really pleased with that. I mean, I think he probably, and us as well, we all would have expected a couple of people to be ahead of Graf Liberty. I think Graf Liberty's probably performed as you would expect. I think we probably thought that there was a couple more in there. Maybe the Westco test, maybe the Cloud Dancer test that we saw yesterday. I think they probably expected a couple of people to be ahead of him. He's put himself into a great position.
He absolutely has, and he's got to deliver that throughout the second and third phases today. But it's not just us here in the studio. We're going to be nice and warm and dry throughout the day. Hannah, I hope you brought your waterproofs with you.
They then go round over SAP and then they focus on this side of the course. Everyone is out here walking the course at the moment. Elizabeth Power just behind me. We've got Marcio George as well there. But I've spotted an Australian contingent. So we're just going to run over and try and have a chat with these guys because one of these men is at the top of the series leaderboard. We've got Shane Rose and Chris Burton. Morning, guys.
Good morning.
Yeah, good. How are you feeling? I mean, big day for you, Chris.
Yeah, big day. Just trying to focus on the job ahead.
And what do you think of the conditions? Apart from being miserable.
Yeah, it's a little bit wet as we can see. To be honest, I just saw the course designer and we were saying the ground's holding up really well. It's been so dry. Blair's been much worse in the past, I can tell you.
And Shane, to you quickly, you've just walked the show jumping course here. What do you think of it?
Yeah, it looks nice. I think it's a nice twisty, turny course, but I think we'll see some good jumping. Hopefully, on one of them.
And are you gunning for your Aussie mate here?
Yeah, look, if he comes second to me, I'd be more than happy for him. So no, look, I'm sure he'll go really well, and hopefully he can win the series.
Okay, well, leg win, series win, and then Australia will be happy. What can I say, guys? Best of luck for today.
Thank you,
Nicole. It's going to be an epic day. We're all super excited down here.
Well, it absolutely is, and the show jumping will be getting underway very shortly. But a combination who have been firm favourites in the Event Rider Masters series are Bill Levitt and Shannon Dale-Titan. They've made more ERM appearances than any other combination, and we all love them. They made the podium for the first time this year. It's a pretty special partnership.
We bought Shannon Dale-Titan, Alfie as he's known at home, as a 4-year-old through Sean and Sally Parkin in Ireland. And then at 7 he went to Bill, and Bill has had him ever since he was 7.
For them to be here and see him finish on the podium, well, it would be fabulous for them because they've been hugely supportive of me taking Alfie to all these wonderful venues. Probably I set my goals just to try and improve on last year's series. And I was one of my sort of goals was to get on a podium, because I'd been close before and it's a bit frustrating when you're on the podium and you get kicked off. So, it was nice to eventually have that happen this year in Arville. I didn't actually realise for the start, and I said, well, I've just got to hang on. And then someone had said, no, you actually, whatever happens now, you're going to finish on the podium.
And he is motoring with Shannon Dale-Titan.
So I had that big sort of moment where I just clenched my fists and went, yes, I finished on the podium, thank goodness.
Well, we were all delighted for Bill. And actually, he's got a bit of a challenge going for the series podium as well. He's looking to pick up good points this weekend, and we'll be watching him very closely in the jumping, both this morning and this afternoon. They've been around the Blair Hills previously. So can they use that experience to good use? Well, it is very close to getting to the start of the show jumping. Derm's nipped out of the studio. We've sent him out in the rain, and he's with Hannah.
Well, I thought we should get Derm out here because, quite frankly, he's too warm and cosy in the studio. But Derm, we've got a big day and tough conditions. What do you think? Are there going to be any excitements? Are there going to be any upsets?
Yes, there'll be excitement. Yes, there'll be upsets. Blair has been one of the toughest ERM legs cross country, and the conditions are going to play into that. Show jumping about 1 in 5 tend to jump clear here over the last 10 years. What with 23, you're still going to look like 3, maybe 4 show jumping clear rounds. Going to be movement. Yeah, going to be lots of movement.
Oh my God, he's so excited. I can't get over it. Right, you get back to the studio. I want you to stay dry and warm. Meanwhile, we've lined up these three. Morning, Bill. How are you feeling?
I'm very well, thanks. Very well. Looking forward to today, yeah.
What do you think of it? I mean, it's raining, it's miserable, it's going to be tough, right?
Yeah, if it's like anything like yesterday, the time was very tight. I had 3 time in the 3-star yesterday, and I thought I'd taken all the lines that I needed to, so I'll have to be really on my mettle and make sure I keep tight lines, move up where I need to. So yeah, none of these classes of the ERM classes have ever been easy on time. So not only you got to jump clear, but you've got to leave every line very tight and try and get that clear inside the time.
Well, it was a nice test yesterday, and it might be the second Bill Levitt podium. Come on, Bill.
Well, we're hoping, yeah, and that's the plan. And I've got him fit as I can, so and I'll be having a crack, no doubt about it. Yeah.
Okay, well, the man is currently leading overnight, Oliver Townend. Great test yesterday, but you were disappointed with it.
Yeah, he wasn't quite with me as much as he has been in the past, but at the same time, luckily everyone else was in the same position by the sounds of it. Obviously, I didn't know what was going on. I came out disappointed and they told me I was in the lead, so that's a nice surprise.
And we have had a few poles down in the Event Rider Masters over the last few events. How is Kilnabrad and Evo? How is Gary feeling?
Yeah, great. Look, I think it only came as a little bit of a shock because his record's been so good for 2 years. He's not had a fence down, so and to be fair to him, he's run nothing but competitively, so they don't get higher, but he feels in great form and we'll be hopeful.
Okay, well, best of luck today, Oliver. And coming to Emily King, finally. Emily, lying in third overnight. Woohoo! Go. Top woman as well. How are you feeling ahead of today? Could this be the elusive Emily King podium we've all been gunning for?
I hope so. I mean, the course is very tough today here in the show jumping. The ground's actually holding up pretty well. It could be a bit slippy, but the time's going to be very tight, so we're going to have to, really speed on between the fences, but they're really up to height and very square, so got to try and keep them up.
Well, we wish you the very best of luck. We'll be gunning for you and Dargan, Emily. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Well, Nicole, the tension is building. There are crowds here, despite the weather. Everybody here to see what happens in this final day of the Event Rider Master Series.
Well, beautiful Blair Castle, the backdrop for the jumping phases today. It's pretty grey. There's some fairly impressive mountains in the background that we can't really see. Dan, this is the running order, the Equa ratings ones we need to watch.
Well, I mean, I think there's a couple here that will be hoping for clear rounds. I think I would suggest Tom McHugh, Royal Roxy. That's the one I'm going to be interested in because Tom obviously very, very good clear, like jumping a lot of clear rounds himself. But that 9-year-old mare, it's going to be interesting there to watch what can happen there. Izzy Taylor, of course, as well, one of the most experienced riders in the world now over the last couple of years. And what she's done in terms of the amount of clear rounds you jump again on an inexperienced horse now. But I am expecting a clear round from Izzy. Look, it gets very exciting here. The one that I'm drawn to immediately is, you can see Emily Philp there coming in on Camembert, coming up for 20 now. This will be round number 20, and they've never knocked a pole internationally. So that's going to be your early guide, I think, to what the rest of them can do. Vittoria Panizan and Burra Penny's always great to watch in the jumping. Westco's come back this year, hasn't knocked a pole since he's been back. London 52's knocked one pole in his whole career. The O's have got to go, as they say in boxing. I don't think all of them are going to jump clear here today. There's going to be some movement. I think Townend, as we get towards the end, we just heard that interview there. I think as we get towards the end, that's going to be one that a lot of eventing fans are going to be interested to see. Nicole, is he back? I wouldn't write off the 15 clear rounds that came before that, those poles down at Barbary, and then of course he's had 2 poles since. So that's one that I'm looking forward to seeing. Can he hold on to the lead? It was the fact that he held on to the lead here a couple of years ago, Nicole, when Bettina Hoy and Senior Medicott had poles down, allowed Oliver to go ahead. I think that could be a really influential part of how this plays out.
Well, we know show jumping in the Event Rider Master Series really plays a part on the leaderboard, doesn't it? I think we've only had one winner who's had poles in the show jumping, is that right?
That is correct. Gemma Tattersall at Gatcombe.
Arctic Soul, yes, Gatcombe 2017.
Yeah, 2 down that day and still went on to win. Maybe not massively dissimilar conditions in that it was a very testing cross-country track. Blair 2 years ago, so Blair 2016, 50% jump clear. That's the toughest cross-country we saw in any Event Rider Master leg. Last year it was back up around that mid-70 mark, but we did have a lot of drama. Remember Lebowski? Lebowski here last year, hugely experienced cross-country horse. We expected him, this was the day, a big PB in the dressage for Lebowski. Go and win it. Go and win it, Beanie. And we saw the drama. So Graf Liberty, yes, he's in pole position. He was the fastest time here last year by 5 seconds. But the phase coming up is probably where Graf Liberty and Chris Burton could open the door to others. If 2 poles or more come down, I think it's wide open. And the fact that we've got rain, the fact that we've got a tricky Blair, talking to some of the riders, there's tricky fences out there in the cross country. So it is possible for any of these to have a 20. I think there will be a lot of drama.
And Matt, in terms of the weather conditions, you know, these are top competitors. They're not going to let it put them off at all. But it's going to have a real part to play in the day, isn't it?
Absolutely. The rain this morning will make a serious difference to the course. And I think that will, there'll be hard luck stories because of it.
Well, Dye Body, the corset designer here at Blair Castle, and she is notoriously tricky as a course designer. She's a very clever lady, isn't she, Matt?
Yeah, and she is very, very good at making the time influential. You can't just go and have a nice ride round on one of Dye's courses and expect to be not picking up time faults. You've got to be on the tightest lines and keeping the pace up and landing in the rhythm and moving forwards.
Well, the first combination to come forward will be Matt Hecking and Harley Bell, making their Event Rider Masters debut. Comes forward with 40.5 in 23rd position overnight, and will be able to get a real look at Dye Body's track for the very first time.
You can see Matt right at the start. He's set off in a nice rhythm. The horse spends a little bit of time in the air. And I would say, he's made a tight turn there, but I would say right from the start he was just a little bit short of canter, and because of that, I think he's just paid the penalty there, and unfortunately had a little stop going into the first combination.
So that'll be 4 penalties to add to his total for that refusal, and gets it nicely at the second time of asking.
Yeah, I'd just like to see him land and just travel a little bit more away from his fences, just so that he's not relying upon seeing a stride and having to move up to the fences to be the right place.
And this horse would be fairly inexperienced at this level. Both Matt and Harley Bell's first time at the level, and unfortunately it is going to end for them in the show jumping.
Yeah, that's a real shame, and not the way we want to start the class, obviously, but the horse looked a very nice jumper, and I hope that it'll go back and the confidence won't be damaged too much, and we'll see them again in the future.
So 2 refusals does mean elimination for Matt Hecking and Harley Bell, and we won't unfortunately be seeing them this afternoon in the cross country. Now though, it is Richard Skelt Manhunt, a 37.9 this combination come forward on in 22nd position overnight. And Richard rides this 14-year-old for owner Una Rowe. Well, we'll get our first full look, hopefully, at Dye Body's track with Richard Skelt. He's looking to have set off pretty cautiously.
Yeah, I just said so, and he actually went round there where the first rider went inside, so obviously they had a stop, so paid the penalty for going inside, but I think you'll see riders going inside line to that first combination later on and being successful doing that.
Well, the time allowed set by course designer Dye Body is 82 seconds. The ground jury can actually review that within the first 3 riders, but they're perhaps not going to have a really clear picture of how those riders are going to be jumping this track with that time allowed until a little bit later on.
I think that's probably right, because like you said, Richard definitely started off a little bit cautiously.
Well, a pole goes there, so 4 to add at the moment. There's the Event Rider Masters planks. Now choosing the direct option, that's been pretty much the favoured route at all Event Rider Masters legs, hasn't it?
I mean, the plank, the first event we went to, we considered to be little bit of a fence that was going to be influential, and it hasn't come down anywhere near as much as perhaps we anticipated over the course of the series.
Well, the clock has turned red, so it is a penalty for every second or part second thereof over that time of 82 seconds. 7 time penalties for jumping, 48.9 for Richard Scelt, and Manhunt, they'll go forward to this afternoon's cross country. Well, this is Harry Much and HD Bronze. 36.4 this combination come forward on. They jumped clear actually at Bergam International at the end of July, with the only combination to finish on their dressage score on that occasion. Made the time across the country. If Harry can leave the poles up here, this is going to be a combination really looking to climb the leaderboard this afternoon.
This looks a super jumper right from the start, doesn't he? I mean, I hope I don't kiss the death on him, but making a nice shape over the fences and looks to have plenty of scope. Harry sits in a nice position.
Saw a stride there,
yeah,
didn't he?
Yeah. Oh, that's going to cost him. He's just ended up having a little bit of a turn to the left when he needed to be turning right. Corrected it really quickly, but that probably will affect him time-wise. And again, that's going to influence that. You know, I don't think the ground jury are going to be changing the time off of anything they've seen so far.
Well, the pole goes, and the time is looking pretty tight for Harry Much, HD Bronze, as he comes up the final line. It's going to turn red, and he just actually takes a pull at the last as well. Plays it safe, so it is going to be 4 jumping, 4 time for Harry Much. 44.4 his total score going forwards.
I would say, looking at that round, that the time is going to be quite achievable for those more experienced riders coming later in the field. You know, he looked reasonably cautious. He did have that slight deviation, of course, in between the fences, and didn't have a silly amount of time fault. So I think that the time will be achievable.
Well, Harry Much and HD Bronze, that pole there just costing them 4 penalties, and 4 penalties in time as well. So 8 to add in total. As next to come forward, Kate Rocher-Smith with Dasset Jack, 36.0. This combination bring forward from the dressage inside the top 20. And another to go on the inside line.
Yeah,
there.
Inside line to that. And he's a very, very good jumper, this horse. I know Kate really well. And I think that she'll be able to ride all the tight lines on him, and I think that'll probably suit him a little bit. If anything, he can just get a little bit strong occasionally and do his own thing. So I think she'll be looking to be on the tight lines.
Great story, this, and great to see Dasset Jack back. Only 2 rounds and only 1 show jumping around internationally since their return in 2018. Before that, it was all the way back in 2014 when we last saw them internationally, and they did jump clear in the CCI 3 at Blenheim, here at Blair and at Hopetoun. So as you say, Matt, very good show jumping record, and great to see them back.
Yeah, he's a lovely horse, this. He makes a super shape. He's got such a nice expression on his face. He always looks to be trying his best for Kate. She was inside there as well. So. And
she's significantly quicker than Harry was at this stage.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say she's good time-wise. He won't take too many pulls here, but yeah.
Well, it is clear round number 1, courtesy of Kate Rocher-Smith and Dasset Jack. They go forward to the cross-country on their dressage score of 36.0. Brilliant to see this horse back out at international competition. Had a couple of years on the sidelines. Last completed an international before this season back in 2014. So good to see him back, and we have our first clear round. Now let's go to Hannah.
Well, I've been watching the first few rounds with Bill Levitt. Bill, what do you make of the track?
Well, we saw the first couple go, and they'd taken a few very wide lines. They didn't have too many time, and then Kate's just gone clear. So it's what we thought after the first couple, that the time would be quite gettable. Certainly a little bit softer than some of the other classes, because some of the other classes, the ERM legs, we've seen is you've ridden really tight lines and thought, where did that person, go quietly, and they had 2 or 3 times. So it looks a little bit softer.
We've had a few polls down so far. Is that going to be the trend throughout?
I don't think so. I think when the more experienced combinations come in, they'll have a really good chance of jumping clear, actually.
Well, we wish you the best of luck, Bill.
Thank you.
Well, confirmation from our ground jury that the time allowed of 82 seconds is remaining the same. So we've already seen it achieved once, and that will not be changing as we go forward. Andrew Downs, Ricane Bay coming forward now, 35.6 their starting score.
Key one for me, you could just pick up on the back of that Bill interview. The key one for me there is how many people are going to jump clear now, Nicole. I was saying 1 in 5, which meant probably no more than 3 or 4 here in this class. On that time and on what I've seen so far, I would be pushing that up to maybe 7 or 8 now.
Oh, an Echo Ratings prediction of 7 and 8. Can we have a Matt Heath prediction?
Yeah, I would agree with them. I think we'll see quite a few clear rounds later on in the class. Interestingly, Andrew went round to get to that first combination, and he's just had a rail, but it'd be interesting to see time-wise how, whether he can get close to the time going round there. I'd say he's probably struggling a little bit. It's just been a little bit defensive, perhaps.
Well, rather rattled his way through the treble combination.
Yeah, I thought that had gone, but obviously it stayed.
I think it stayed.
Yeah, rattled back again.
Sometimes you need a little bit of luck, don't you?
Absolutely.
Well, comes to the water tray, and that definitely goes. So 2 down for Andrew Downs and Ricane Bay, and the time is looking pretty tight as well. He's going to slip into time penalties. It is 1 penalty for every second or part second thereof over that time allowed. And the last goes 2, so it is 12 jumping, 7 time, 19 in total, 54.6.
Well, there have been 2 big questions that the stacks have all fallen on in our Echo Rating Stacks game available in the app stores. People didn't think that Kate Roche, Smith and Dasset Jack were going to jump clear. 85% thought no, so a lot of the answers fall there. A lot of the stacks fell, and then again with Ricane Bay and Andrew Downs, 78% believed that they could keep it to 2 poles or less. They didn't, so all the stacks are back pretty close to 0 right now, which means if you want to go and win that iPad, there's still another 40 questions, Nicole. If you can get more right than anyone else, you can win the iPad.
Well, you can download the Stacks app for free in your app store, as you can also download the SAP Spectator Judging app. Let us know who you think are going to win at the moment. The hot favourites are Izzy Taylor, Chris Burton and Oliver Townend from you guys at home. Now, though, it is Tom McEwen, Royal Roxy, 34.2 their starting score. And this was a combination you picked out as one to keep a very close eye on in the jumping.
I was interested in this because primarily, I suppose, because of Tom's record, and he's so experienced now at CIC 3-star level. He's jumped 21 clear rounds from 45 at the level, and Royal Roxy coming through, still just a 9-year-old. She's only 2 3-stars at the level. Last time out at Barbary, it wasn't what they were expecting. I was hoping to get them back on track here.
Yeah, and Tom's started very, very positively. He did have that rail down at the second fence, but he's just had another one. But I think this mare is quite difficult to ride in the show jumping. But you see how disciplined Tom is with his body as he's riding round. Keeps his body as still as possible and gives this horse every opportunity to jump the fences. And he looks good time-wise.
Well, 2 poles down so far for Royal Roxy and Tom McEwen, 42.2 their total score, and that's what they'll take forward to the jumping. Well, next to come forward, it is Wills Oakden and Cooley Ramiro. Wills, who actually made his senior team debut for Team GB here at Blair Castle. That was with Greystone Midnight Melody back in 2015 at the European Championships. But this is a horse that really impressed at Chatsworth for a top 8 finish in leg 1. and have been really successful for Team GB on the Nations Cup Series this year. Finished third in Stragom in June. So a combination in very good form, and a combination that are looking pretty good so far, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, this horse he's really giving the fences plenty of room. I hope not to put the kiss of death on it, but he, you know, really looks to be making a real effort and going up and around the fences in a nice way. You know, Will's riding the horse with a lot of confidence. You can see he's jumped quite a lot of clear rounds this year in the way he's riding. You know, he's just keeping a nice rhythm and keeping a nice soft feel to the fences.
And Will's said after his dressage yesterday, a little bit disappointed perhaps with his first phase score, but he wanted to finish as close to that 33.0 as possible. He's in 17th position coming forward, a clear round here as he comes to the last. He's comfortably inside the time, and it is clear round number 2 for Wills Oakton, and Cooley Romero never looked in any doubt, man.
No, it didn't at all, and I mean, both him and Tom, it's probably the most experienced riders to have come in so far, and they were both comfortably inside that optimum time. I think, you know, the time is going to be reasonably straightforward for these riders coming forwards.
Well, Wills Oakton, Cooley Romero, clear round number 2. As now it is the individual silver medalist from the Le Lion d'Angers Young Horse World Championships last year. Direct Casino, owned by Jocelyn Riley, ridden by Izzy Taylor. 32.7 their starting score.
We like this horse, don't we? We're really talking about it before the show started, and you know, did incredibly well in Lyon last year, and just looks a really nice type.
Tell you, when I was looking at it yesterday, Matt, the one that shocked me was the inside the time round at Arville in the CIC 3-star. It wasn't the ERM CIC 3-star, it wasn't quite as tight as that time, but this is a horse to keep an eye on, because a clear round here, and they did show jump clear in Arville in the CIC 3-star there as well. A clear round here would really set this pair up for a big challenge as a fast horse on the Blair Hills this afternoon.
Absolutely. And you know, you're watching Izzy going round, discipline with her upper body to the fences is, you know, as technically correct as you can possibly get. So she gives every horse the opportunity to jump the fences.
And actually this time is looking more and more comfortable as we go on, because Izzy by far the fastest that we've seen so far, and she, you know, she hasn't hung around, but she's not been going crazy either.
No, I mean, that's the first time you've seen her really give a little squeeze, isn't it? Just to open the canter up a little bit for the triple bar. This looks very comfortable time-wise as well.
Well, Izzy Taylor, Direct Casino, 32.7. That's the score that they will be taking forward to the cross-country this afternoon. A lot to like from this young horse, only an 8-year-old, one of the youngest in the field, but Izzy won the series finale in 2017. That was with Be Touchable up at Blenheim. And this a horse I'm sure she is really excited about for the future. So Izzy Taylor, Direct Casino, clear round number 3. Hannah, let's hear what she has to say about that.
Izzy's just come straight out of the ring. Izzy, amazing, a third clear, well done.
Yeah, he was very, very good. He was excited when the music went off for Wills, so he had to just get his brain back, but he jumped to super clear.
And thoughts ahead of this afternoon in cross country? It's pretty wet and slippy.
Yeah, I enjoy riding in the rain. I hunt a lot, so it can keep raining, and that would help me, I think.
Okay, best of luck, Izzy.
Thank you very much.
Well, we've got 3 clear rounds so far. Derm, you said 7 or 8, still sticking by it?
It could be more. It could be more. It could be we could have a Barbary 2017 situation on our hands where, because there's still some very good horses to come, and I think we could see up around the records for Event Rider Masters how many we can get clear. Could it even be as high as 9 or 10 from 23? You know, for me that would be record territory. We've got You Come to Me Before. And I'll tell you if they're on the list. But
is Harriet Wright on the list? There we go. Nagong Hills next in, 32.3 inside the top 15 after dressage. Needs to jump clear to stay ahead of Izzy Taylor.
And if they can keep it to 1 or less, I think they'll be pleased.
Well, this combination actually come here off the back of a very good top 10 finish at Hartbury in the long format 2-star a few weeks ago. Jumped clear in the final day on that occasion, and actually had a good deal of success here at Blair last year.
See Harriet working, she works her legs quite hard at the base of the fence on this horse. I don't know whether, you know, just helping to install a little bit of confidence. That's quite a high head carriage, which always makes it, you know, and in the combinations, when they have that high head carriage, it's really difficult for them to balance up and get back to where they need to be. And unfortunately, she did pay the penalty coming out the treble there, having that fence down. Again, time-wise, she looks pretty good though.
Well, one pole down will drop her 3 places on the leaderboard.
She gave the horse tray a rub, but it stayed.
As she comes up the final line, the time is absolutely fine, so it just takes a pull as she comes to the last and clears it well. 1 pole to add, 4 penalties in total, 36.3, drops her 3 places on the leaderboard, but Harriet Wright and Nagong Hills. Derm, you said if she could keep it to 1, she'd be happy?
Yeah, trending in around where you'd expect. She did have 1 at Nunney in the CIC 2-star, had 3 down at Hartbury when she stepped up to 3-star for the first time, 1 down at Blair Castle here last year.
And Matt, that combination there, she rubbed the first couple of elements, couldn't quite get herself out of trouble at the third.
No, absolutely. You know, when they've got a high head carriage like that, they just don't balance up enough, unfortunately.
Well, now it is a young lady who put in a huge personal best in the dressage yesterday. She was absolutely delighted with our RLE Limbo Kaiser. 32.0 was their score, and that left them in equal 13th overnight.
Through that first combination, a little bit low coming out. I don't know, have you got this one down for a clear round?
I'm hoping so because of their CCI form jumped clear last time out at Campfire in the CCI 3. Are we okay still?
No,
1 pole down.
Have 1, okay,
in,
well.
yeah.
I think, again, if we could keep it to that, it would build on the PB and they'd be pleased with that. The last thing you want is to add 8, having, you know, almost taken 8 marks off your trending score. So keep it to 1. I think Rosa's going to come out of here happy.
Well, that only drops her a few places on the leaderboard. Izzy Taylor and Wills Oakton really are going to climb closer towards that top 10.
2 fast riders.
Very fast riders. And Rosa coming round. She takes the longer route to the final line.
She's actually gone round a couple of fences and could still be all right time-wise, I think, actually.
Well, RLE, Limbo Kaiser, Rosa Onslow inside the time, just the 1 pole down, cost them 3 places on the leaderboard. They go forward to this afternoon's cross-country on 36.0. Well, next to come forward, it is the combination who finished inside the top 20 individually at the Rio Olympic Games a couple of years ago. Carlos Parro and Summon Up the Blood on 32.0. They were in equal 13th with Rosa Onslow. They can hold that independently if they jump clear in this phase. And you at home on the SAP Spectator Judging app actually saying we're going to have 8 clear rounds. So very much along the lines of thinking of both Matt and Derm in the studio with me. We've had 3 so far. Carlos had to work pretty hard through the SAP combination.
Yeah, he did, yeah. But he's a very experienced rider, and you know, those situations present themselves, and riders like him, just had a rail, haven't said that. Those sorts of riders just deal with the situation as it comes. So it doesn't always just tuck his front legs up. He's quite good with his body and gets his body out of the way. He just tends to leave his front legs a little bit loose sometimes. He's on 2 fences down already.
Well, Summon Up the Blood is on a bit of a comeback journey. He hasn't been seen at an international since the Olympics at Rio, so there has been some time off. He was pleased with the dressage. It was very consistent as to where he'd been before they were off. I don't think Carlos will be. I think he'll be a little bit disappointed because this thoroughbred would have challenged heavily on the Blair Hills again. Would have been able to use that, but probably wanted a clear or no more than 1 to stay in touch with them.
Well, comfortably inside the time allowed, just the 2 poles down for Carlos Parro, Summon Up the Blood. It actually costs him 5 places on the leaderboard, drops to 18th at the moment. So 8 jumping penalties in total. We've had 3 clear rounds. How are we looking in terms of what we've still got to come?
Well, the big one, I guess, for me is that I think the time isn't as tight, which is going to probably allow someone like, I think people like Wesco, probably Laura Collett as well, would have been hoping for a more challenging show jumping. But I have to stop. Here we go. 19
Okay.
clear rounds in a row internationally. Emily Philp, Camembert. This is to make it 20 clear rounds in a row.
Clear jumping rounds, isn't it? They've had a couple of time penalties on occasion, but clear jumping
Nicole,
rounds.
that'd be nice, yeah.
No,
yeah, exactly, you're right. No pause down. No pause down in 20.
Clarifying the stat.
Yeah, you're right, Nicole. Thank you.
She's a little bit tight to the combination at fence 3 there, but you can see how careful this horse is and how hard he tries and how much scope he's got. It really was no effort for him to be able to get out of there.
One horse rated higher on the show jumping rating in this field, and that's Wesco and Tim Price.
Well, 31.5 is their starting score coming forward. And clear so far as they come back to the Event Rider Masters planks. The time looks absolutely fine. They picked up 6 time penalties here 12 months ago. They jumped clear, finished actually in 15th position on that occasion. But she doesn't need to worry too much about that here today. She just needs to clear the final 2, and then we could be seeing a real new trend in the Equa ratings stats, because Emily Philp and Camembert make it clear round number 20 in a row. We all held our breath over the last, but we needn't have worried.
No, I mean, it's kind of interesting technique at times, but absolutely effective, because it's now 20 in a row. That's all. Never had a pole in their international career. I think anyone in the world would be delighted with that. Moved up the levels, and still, you know, to have a horse like this who can give you that advantage. What I was going to say, Nicole, before Emily came in, is when you've got a horse like that, whether it's a London 52, whether it's Camembert, you want your advantage to play out. And there's the potential now that Craft Liberty doesn't knock a pole. There's the potential that Craft Liberty only knocks 1, and then he gets his advantage in the afternoon. So they'll be, people like Tim might be a bit disappointed that you know, more poles aren't coming down. Here's Elizabeth Power Saladoon, another horse that will be could set themselves up here if they have a clear round. This is one of the fastest horses you're going to see.
This is on my list on this track.
Well, Izib on the podium at Gatcombe a couple of years ago in 2016 with this horse. 1 pole down so far, so 35.5. That's going to drop them a few places on the leaderboard, but proving expensive early on.
Izib does a lot of, you know, pure show jumping as well.
By pure show jumping, we do mean some of the biggest classes in the world, like the Hickstead Derby. She's a pretty accomplished.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, certainly no reflection on that there's, you know, rails coming down by any stretch of the imagination. Wouldn't be this horse's strongest phase, but he is an exceptional cross-country horse, and he'll certainly be setting a trend quite quickly this afternoon, I would have thought, time-wise, as to whether, you know, the time's possible or not.
Well, she takes the Event Rider Masters planks very easily, so the horse looks to have improved slightly as the round has progressed.
Yeah, I just said so, and interesting, isn't it? You know, she's still ridden some very tight lines, so obviously feels that that's right for this horse, with the time not being as tight as it could be.
Well, a quick rub of the last, but it stays. So 2 down, 8 to add, 39.5. That puts them in 17th position at the moment. So it drops us 6 places on the leaderboard.
How many clears are we on?
4.
4.
And we've got 10 combinations still to jump.
10 combinations still to go. This gets interesting. Okay, Wesco, Borough Pennies. I'm expecting a clear round now from Pennies. Dargan, London 52, Shannondale Titan. I think we'll probably have 4 more.
4 more clear rounds. So you're going for 8 clear rounds. You would agree with
I'm sticking with my original, yeah. And is that what the audience have gone for on the app?
On the SAP Spectator.
I think we might touch double figures.
Oh.
I think we might get to 10.
Oh, bold, Matt, bold. Well, this combination is certainly one that could put in a challenge for that clear round. Vittoria Panizon for Italy with Sally Bullen's Borough Pennies. 31.3 inside the top 10. This horse, such a poster mare for the ERM Super Groom. Hi-Ho Silver very kindly donating a prize for the Super Groom, and you can vote using the hashtag ERM Super Groom on social media. Always beautifully turned out, and this combination know each other so well. Finished just outside the top 10 at the Olympic Games in London, have been to many a European Championship, and 4-star as well. Finished 5th in Arville, jumped a flawless clear round on that occasion. And she's a really careful mare in this phase.
Just makes me smile to watch her. I just think riding is a real amazing experience. I mean, just the way that she uses her whole body, her neck, to make that real classical shape over a fence is just a pleasure to watch, and probably quite rare in the eventing job, to be fair.
They jump so big. We've seen this a couple of times in Event Rider Masters. They jump big. The main place that they can be caught every so often, we saw it at Barbary, and we also saw it at Gatcombe in the Event Rider Masters last year, is they can pick up time penalties in this phase every so often.
She's looking okay today.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think that's going to be an issue today, but you can see, look at the height of it.
Yeah, unbelievable, yeah.
I seem to remember at Barbary a couple of years ago, the mare nearly actually jumped Victoria off. She was that extravagant. She really is quite extraordinary. And she's coming down to the final couple of fences on a clear round so far. Will it be clear round number 5 that goes to Italy? 31.3, she'll guarantee going out in the final 10 cross country if she can clear the last. Pops it very nicely, easily inside the time. 31.3, Vittoria Panizon and Borough Pennies, that's the score. They'll be taking forward to the cross country a little bit later. Janelle Price and a Cloud Dancer on the podium here a couple of years ago. 30.5 in 9th position coming forward to the show jumping. A fairly explosive dressage yesterday, and 1 pole goes, so that'll be a 34.5 that they're taking forward. It's going to drop them at least 3 or 4 places on the leaderboard.
Yeah, I think she'll be disappointed to have had a rail down so early on in the round. But Janelle's got masses of experience and certainly very successful, so she'll be doing her best to keep it to that. See, this horse just gets a little bit opinionated there. Janelle's having to work quite hard just to keep the room that she wants at the front of the fence. She obviously feels that when this horse runs a little deeper, when perhaps it's a little bit more vulnerable, so she tries to create a little bit of extra room at the front of the fences. I think if she can keep to 1 down from there, then that's probably not too bad a round.
That drops her 4 places on the leaderboard. The time is okay as she comes to the last as well. So just the 1 pole down. 34.5 at Janelle Price and Cloud Dancer will be taking forward to the cross country this afternoon. They'll be a little disappointed with that perhaps, and husband Tim, who's next in, will no doubt be looking for Janelle to put some pressure on both Laura Collett and Chris Burton in terms of keeping them lower down the placings if she can in the leg as well. Now it is the combination who jumped clear in Jardy when they finished on their dressage score to take 2nd place. Tim Price and Westcote, 30.3 their dressage. This horse felt so well in the dressage yesterday. He was a little bit too bright perhaps, but still well placed. And in 8th position coming forward. Would be a horse that you would be expecting as one of your clear rounds?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Westco, as I said, top-rated show jumper. The only thing that you can say is he hasn't been back for very long. Since he's come back, 2 internationals, 1 at Jardy where the show jumping is reasonably tough, and that was a clear round. Breitling Park in the CIC 2-star also jumped clear. Before that, we're all the way back in 2016. At Poe, and he did jump clear there. So everything points to a clear round. If you're looking for anything, you'd say how long were they? Is there anything because they were off certainly from first round.
Yeah, I mean the round started very well. Horses held a nice rhythm. It looks to be rideable to the fence. Had a little touch there and the fence stayed, which will probably help him for the rest of the round. And I mean, certainly one of the most popular combinations I think in the sport, these two together. Tim as a rider is hugely popular, and this horse is got a huge fan club. I mean, anyone who's ever been involved, we share the same physio, myself and Tim, and I know it's certainly one of her personal favourites, Alice Dorman.
Just key for the series because he just cannot afford a pole to stay close.
Well, Tim Price, Wesco. Oh, the last goes, and that is a really big moment for the 2018 Event Rider Masters Series podium because it drops him 4 places on the leaderboard. It gives a little bit of breathing room for both Laura Collett and Chris Burton, 34.3.
Hugely surprising. He ended up just almost landed over the triple bar and stayed quite quiet, and then ended up having to just move a touch the last stride to the last fence, and unfortunately had it down behind.
He'll be massively disappointed with that. I think he'll be a little bit disappointed with his dressage test.
Well, Tim Price, the Wesco, 1 pole down, opens up a little bit of breathing room perhaps on those ahead of Tim in the series. But Hannah, it is all happening in there in the show jumping.
It certainly is. That was quite the upset from Tim Price and Wesco, but one lady that went clear, Vittoria Panizon, congratulations.
Thank you very much. Well, it's always a pleasure to jump pennies. In fact, it makes me very happy. But this morning it's pouring of rain and looks rather grey. She hasn't had a pole all year, and I just was thinking, oh my God, what if today's the first time she has a pole down all year? But no, she was fantastic and pinged over some tight turns in there to stay in the time, but we managed not to slip, and she listened to me when I said turn, and we had fun.
And we all know you're super quick across the country.
Well, we'll see.
Good luck.
Well, they were certainly super quick in Arville for leg 3 a few months ago because they finished 5th there, just 1 second over a very tight time. Now it is the man who actually won here 12 months ago. That was with Virgil. He rides his 4-star winner. CP qualified this time, 28.9 his starting score. And this is a horse that has got probably the most experience in the field under his belt at top level competition, or among the most, because he's been at the top of the scene for a very long time. Was Shane's ride at the Rio Olympic Games a couple of years ago. Took team bronze for Australia on that occasion, and in 7th position coming forwards.
Yeah, and Shane takes last year's winners of the World Equestrian Games. This horse is here trying to defend the title for Shane. Looks to be jumping really well at the start of the course for sure, really making a very conscious effort to try and get over the poles, which is great.
And Shane was saying a little bit earlier on when he spoke to Hannah, this horse wouldn't necessarily be as fast as Virgil in the cross country, but they know each other so well. Shane knows these Blair Hills. You would not bet against them.
No, I mean, he's such a good competitor. I think that the experience that he brings to the table obviously means that he'll be on the tightest lines for sure.
Well, Shane Rose, CP qualified. They do clear the last and easily inside the time, 28.9. They'll be 7th or better coming forward. It is clear round number 6.
I think he'll be pleased. I think, but look, I think you're right. I think the one big one there is, he's mentioned it himself, around the time. And I think that will be challenging in the afternoon. You know, I think it's not the same as last year. It's not Virgil. He's not going to be able to go and push for that time. So, yeah, there's faster ones coming. Big moment here, by the way.
This is a very big moment for the series because Bill Levitt, Shannondale, Titan are currently 5th on the series leaderboard, but looking to climb and could challenge any of those podium finishes. So a clear round here would really set Bill up.
Yeah, lovely tight turn to the 3rd fence there, and jumped through there really nicely. Bill's such experience together, this combination. So I mean, they know each other inside out. And he's just had a rain.
Well, a pole goes. That keeps him inside the top 10. It keeps him ahead of Tim Price. But it does mean that he gives, again, Laura Collett and Chris Burton a bit of breathing room. Well, if he can just keep it to the 1 pole down, it wouldn't be too disastrous. He'd stay inside the top 10. And we heard from Bill yesterday, wife Jenny has been working really hard on this horse's fitness at home. He'll be looking to really put his foot down on the accelerator. A horse that's been round here at Blair a couple of times previously. So they both know the ground very well. As Bill Levitt, Shannondale tighten up the final line. Just the last to go. The time is absolutely fine. And he does clear the last, so he stays inside the top 10, 32.5 for Bill Levitt. Well, this next combination are looking to really put the pressure on the man who leads the series, because it is Laura Collett. Laura rides at London 52, 28.5 her starting score, in 5th place coming forwards to the show jumping. And this is a horse that really catapulted himself into this level of competition with a podium finish in Arville when Laura chased Chris Burton home in leg 3. Laura, 86 points on her series leaderboard count, 10 points behind Chris Burton, but a clear round would pile the pressure on and would mean that Chris Burton could not afford any mistakes in the jumping. Derm, I know this is a horse that Equa Ratings are big fans of.
Yes, very big fans of London 52. How couldn't you be? 1 pole in 11 internationals, that's all levels. Started his CIC 3-star career, stepping up at levels, and he stepped up very, very well. Arville and the cross-country time was probably the moment we all began to really step up and take notice. I'm nervous. You'll have to talk to me after. I've got some interesting news after, but for now.
Laura started the round really nicely, just got a little bit strong on her as she tried to make the turn to fence 3. He looks to have settled now. Oh, he's backed off.
Oh.
And he's had a rail.
Well, a pole down for Laura Collett, and London 52 sees them drop down the top 10 as well.
And he almost didn't read that combination at all, did he? And kind of backed right off. He's just had another rail down. He's got quite argumentative with her there.
2 poles, very big moment in the series, Nicole, because the door is constantly opening up all the time. Firstly, everything's going towards Chris Burton.
Well, Laura Collett, London 52, 2 poles down. She drops 11 places on the leaderboard. That is how expensive this round is being. And actually, it opens the door and really does give Chris Burton some breathing room. She clears the last, but that is a huge point in terms of the series for 2018, because Laura Collett has just taken the pressure off Chris Burton.
And I mean, we spoke this morning about the rain that's come this morning. This is a young horse. We've had a very dry summer. This could easily be the first time for a long time he's actually had to jump on ground that's giving way a little bit underneath, and he looks like he's lost a little bit of confidence from that. He is only a young horse, and I'm sure they'll go back to the drawing board, and you'll see them winning a lot more coming forwards in their career.
Absolutely, and Laura had to use all of her experience there.
Absolutely.
But the horse certainly looked more full of confidence as he completed. So Laura Collett, London 52, 2 poles down. We're into the top 4 here now, the reverse order show jumping, and it is Brazil's Marcio George, JCR winner, who come forward. 27.8, a huge personal best for this horse in the dressage yesterday. Only a 10-year-old by Winter VDL, but one Marcio thinks such a huge amount of for the future. Was top 10 at the test event for Rio back in 2015, I think it was.
Started really nicely, making a nice shape over the fences. Marcio's a very talented rider, and very successful. Finds the jumping, I'd have said, very straightforward. He's very natural to a fence. He's also one of the nicest guys you could possibly meet in the sport, which is also very nice. It doesn't matter where he is.
Is he going the wrong way? He's getting a little bit lost here. He should have turned right to the plank, shouldn't he?
He's gone.
And he's just realised, but that is going to be really costly in terms of time for him.
I think he's struggling not to have crossed his tracks there as well, isn't he? I don't know how that works.
Yes, the judges have awarded 4 penalties as well. So Marcio George, JCR winner, have got 4 penalties, and their time is going to be
picking up time,
really expensive here. So Marcio George, JCR winner, the clock has turned red, those penalties clocking up. He's left all the fences standing, but that is a really costly mistake. 4 jumping and 8 time for Marcio. And JCR winner again drops outside the top 10.
you know, Marcio's finished the round there. You know, he's going to be hugely frustrated with himself, but you see him make a real fuss of the horse. He's fully aware that the horse has made no mistakes to have ended up with those penalties, and makes a real fuss.
Well, Marcio George, JCR winner, out of the top 10, but drama here in the show jumping. Hannah, that was a tough old round for Laura Collett.
It was a tough old round for a lot of people, Nicole. Laura, just talk me through that.
He went very green in there and just froze up whenever I tried to ride forward for anything. He was drawing back and spooking, especially down that line to the treble, and then he just got worried and a bit, against me in there. But he's a 9-year-old and he's only started 3-star this year, and it's a huge learning curve for him. And I think everyone forgets because he's been so good in the 2 ERMs that he's done. But at the end of the day, he's a baby and he's allowed to make mistakes.
You're obviously in contention for a podium finish in this series. That still holds true because some of the others have struggled as well. What are your expectations this afternoon?
He, as I said, he's a young horse, so we'll go out there and it's all part of his learning curve and experience, and just give him hopefully a nice confident ride around there.
Good luck, Laura.
Thank you.
Well, that is a really good point from Laura. It is very easy to forget, this horse, only a 9-year-old, stepped up to the level this year, and still it is a very impressive track record. So we'll be looking to London 52's cross-country round this afternoon, as now into the top 3. It is Emily King and Dargan, 27.1 in 3rd place overnight, within a fence of our leaders. They had a fairly dramatic show jumping round here, if my memory serves correctly, 12 months ago, Derm.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they had to stop at some point in it last year, isn't that right? But I think it was fence 2, but look, for me, this is a key moment for Emily as well in her Event Rider Masters, because the cross-country form has been very good recently, and they're coming here off jumping clear rounds at both Bramham and Gackham. So if they could follow up with a clear round here, based on what we've seen this morning, they could really set themselves up. I would think they'd be going out potentially going out last. That's how big a clear round could be here for them. They could be leading the Event Rider Masters going into the cross country, because I think the other 2 are vulnerable still to come. Good start for the Matt so far.
Yeah, absolutely. The first couple of fences, he was a little bit sticky off the floor. Emily's done well. She's kept pushing him forwards and giving him some confidence. A lot of these horses, we haven't seen a lot of rain this summer, and it is very different conditions when they're slightly slipping.
Well, Emily King and Dargan clear as they come to the final line. 27.1 their score. They'd be really piling the pressure on Chris Burton and Oliver Townend if they can clear the last. They certainly do it. She'll be inside the top 3 going into the cross country. Emily King, Dargan. Well, Chris Burton and Graf Liberty, they were on the podium here 12 months ago. Chris, a 10-point lead in the series. He wants to be, by the end of today, the 2018 Event Rider Masters Series champion. This is a big round in his campaign.
We spoke before it started about, pressure situations, and this is a man who can really cope with pressure. So,
and the pressure has been eased slightly by both Laura Collett and Tim Price having problems.
Sometimes that creates more pressure.
Okay.
If you know what I mean, like you feel like you and just had a rail down, yeah.
Well, 1 pole goes. That cost him 2 places on the leaderboard, but by all means, not a disaster in terms of his series campaign.
Probably need 2 more to make it interesting as to whether he can pull it back. Don't forget this horse 5 seconds faster than any horse in the field here last year. His track record jumping, I think Chris said it yesterday, not his strongest phase. We can see that in the data as well. The fact that the time is a bit tighter has had that advantage in the ball. He's not under huge pressure here. He'll be happy with 1 down.
Well, 1 down still sees him well ahead of Tim Price and Laura Collett, who are behind him in the series. He clears the last, and Chris Burton, Graf Liberty, the first 2 phases, I think it's safe to say, have gone as well for him as he could have hoped at this stage.
Yeah, completely agree. I think he's pole position now. He won't be going out last. He'll probably be 3-4 from the end now, and let's hold off and see where he could even be. You know, could be third, I suppose, depending on what happens here with Oliver. This is going to be a round I'm looking forward to as well. But Oliver now is all down to you, because you've got to keep the pressure on these guys. You're a former winner of this. You're going to be going out potentially last, but to do that we need to see Kilnabrad and Evo of old, hoping for a clear round for this pair.
Well, Sally Ann Eggington's Kilnabrad and Evo won here at Blair 2 years ago. They jumped clear on that occasion. They've had some rather patchy form in the show jumping over their last couple of runs. It was previously such a reliable phase for them, but no better man on board. He cannot afford a pole down to stay ahead of Emily King, cannot afford a time penalty. I don't think the time's going to be too much of a problem.
No, I don't think it is either, but he's come in and ridden, and he's just had the same fence down as
Well, Emily King will be going out last on course here, and Oliver Town and Kilnabrad and Evo just looking again not as comfortable in their map.
No, you know, this is a horse that we were at the beginning of the year so used to seeing jump clear rounds. Ollie came in and rode him over the first few fences. I felt like he was going to be jumping a clear round. I'd have to say, came in a real positive ridden type lines. But yeah, that was a surprise. I thought after watching him jump the first few that he'd be jumping a clear round.
No more poles, and he stays at least in place for a leg. He's clear over the last. He's clear over the last, which means just one down the cut.
And it means he stays ahead of Chris Burton, because Oliver Town and Kilnabrad and Evo 30.4, and they go out as third last to go on the cross country. But this show jumping here in the series finale of the 2018 Event Rider Masters series has been full of drama, because we've had some 6 clear rounds in total. Emily King is one of them. Chris Burton, Oliver Townend, both actually causing problems in the show jumping that opened the door for her.
Absolutely. I was really, really surprised to see one or two of the ones we did have a rail down. You know,
I think people have opened the door, Matt, because if you want to go and challenge Chris Burton in terms of a series, you've got to deliver in all the phases.
Yeah.
And I think potentially say here that a few of them, you know, poles felt that shouldn't have.
Well, Emily King rises 2 places. She is the leader going forward to the cross country this afternoon. She'll be last out over Alec Lahore's cross country track, 27.1. Ahead of last year's winner, Shane Rose, CP qualified, climbed 6 places on the leaderboard with that very good clear round, 28.9. And Oliver Town and Kilnabrad and Evo, Chris Burton, Graf Liberty, both having a pole down, proving costly, but actually not too costly for them. Victoria Pan is on 5th in Arville. She'll be 5th last out on the cross country, and Emily Philps' incredible show jumping record with Camembert continues. They sit in 6th. Kate Rocher-Smith, Dasset Jack, a really good clear round from her, climbs her right up the leaderboard into 12th. Laura Collett, London 52, disappointment with 2 poles down, 36.5. All eyes will be on Laura in the cross-country phase a little bit later on this afternoon. And finally, disappointment for Matt Hecking and Harley Bell, who unfortunately were eliminated in the second phase of competition. But Emily King, Hannah, she's bidding for her first podium finish this weekend. She's in pole position.
She's certainly putting herself in a very strong contention for that podium finish. Emily King, a superb clear round.
Thank you very much. I was over the moon with him. So I by far didn't ride a perfect round, and he helps you out if you're not perfect. He really dug deep, and yeah, where he used to be quite careful as a young horse, he now is, you know, he trusts his scope, and if you're not perfect, he'll just try extra hard, which, you know, everybody can do with a horse like that.
You are going out last this afternoon as our current leader. You've got some very quick riders behind you, but you're not slow yourself, Emily.
Yeah, I know there's obviously Berto, Townend, you know, the fastest boys in the sport. So, yeah, I'll try and go as quick as I can, but keeping safe. And, you know, he's a young horse and he's my only top horse. So even though I want to be competitive, I want to have him to compete for the rest of the year. So I'll take as tight a lines as possible and do as less strides as possible. But yeah, at the end of the day, I want to look after him and come home safe.
Emily, you're no stranger to the Event Rider Masters, but we've not seen you on a podium yet. What would it mean to you to make that podium today?
It would be fantastic, and Dargan's owner, Jane, she's been so supportive, and series like this that you can actually win some money back for the owners is fantastic. So not only for me and the horse and my support group, for her it would be fantastic.
Well, we're all gunning for you, Emily. That's why it's called Dargan, isn't it? Best of luck this afternoon.
Thank you ever so much.
Well, Emily King, she holds the lead going forward to this afternoon's cross country. Can she hold on to the top spot? Because my word, she has three of the most experienced riders in the field hot on her heels. Shane Rose, last year's winner, Oliver Townend, the winner here 2 years ago, and Chris Burton, the series leader. We hope you've enjoyed all of the show jumping. Matt Heath and Derm Byrne from Echo Ratings in the studio with me. 7 clear rounds, Derm. You said 8, actually, or 7 or 8 at the start.
7 or 8.
Spot on.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I think there's a couple in there. As the day went on, I thought there was going to be more. I think I was surprised with London 52, completely accept from what Laura's saying, young horse, that can happen. Surprised with Wesco, but I suppose still on a bit of a comeback and hasn't jumped that many international rounds in 2018. So I can see why. Very understandable. I think most people went in there and did themselves justice. And delighted to see a new name going out last. Delighted to see Emily. It's going to give her a big chance. Pressure's going to be on her, but hoping that she can pull off hopefully a podium finish for her.
And Matt, she was playing it pretty cool in her interview there. Very sensible. She's only 21 years of age.
I thought she gave a very mature interview, actually. Yeah, she expressed the fact that it's her only top horse at this level, and that there is a little bit more to do. So she'll be going out. I'm sure she'll be hugely competitive and going out to do the best, but she's not willing to take any unnecessary risks, and that's what us as riders have to do in the sport to keep the sport safe. Ride sensibly within ourselves.
Absolutely. 18 seconds cover the top 10 on the cross country. May sound like a lot, but actually here at Blair it really isn't.
Yeah, Blair's an interesting one. I think because of the weather, we're going to see time penalties, no doubt about that. Nobody made the time here last year. Even the wonderful Chris Burton didn't make the time here last year. Graf Liberty, 2 seconds over, still 5 seconds faster than anyone else. So yes, we're going to see a challenge in terms of the time penalties. I would say jumping penalties are what's going to decide this today. If any of the ones who are close to the top are going to fall out of contention, it's going to be because of jumping penalties.
Now, in terms of the series leaderboard, Chris Burton, actually, he had a pole down, but he was helped by a pole down for Tim Price and 2 down for Laura Collett.
Yeah.
Can he be beaten this afternoon? He was on the podium here last year. He's got a 10-point buffer. He's obviously still got to jump all the fences.
Yeah, he's got to jump all the fences. And I suppose, if I'm really honest, we've seen horse when you go in cross country, anything can happen. So yes, that can happen. But from a data point of view, from a trends point of view, you've got to look at where people are strongest. And Chris Burton and Graf Liberty, I don't think have ever not completed, and they're the fastest horse in the field, and he's the fastest rider in the world. So if you're looking at trends, you've got to say it's now over to Chris Burton. It's yours to lose. And I'm happy with that, because I think he's delivered across the series. I think he's the deserving winner of the whole series, and he's now likely the winner of the leg for me as well. I think he'll close the gap time-wise on Emily with his advantage. His strong phase is coming up now. The others needed to do more in their strong phases, which were the first 2. Now it's over to Chris Burton. I think he canters home.
Matt, final word. Who is your leg winner?
I think the leg winner, I think probably Chris is still as fast as he is, going to be very, very difficult to beat from there. I think Izzy Taylor will climb a lot from where she is as well still.
Izzy Taylor in 8th with Direct Casino. That is definitely one to keep a close eye on with the jumping. But, well, the show jumping. It has been full of drama here in the series finale for the 2018 Event Rider Masters. It is the final day of competition for us this year. We have absolutely loved every second, and it is not over yet, because this afternoon we will be crowning the 2018 series final champion. Will it be Chris Burton? Make sure you tune in to find out. Join us 1:55.